YouTube podcast world, you already know what it is. Pays and Plays podcast here. It is Good Friday, October 6th. I hope everyone feeling good. I'm feeling great. Hey, last night, called it, did I? I don't bet Thursday night games, but like let yesterday be an example why I don't do them. I remember the Bears when they were up, right? It was like 27-3 at the half. I didn't watch the first half. I watched the second half. As I'm slowly watching it, I'm like, yo, the Bears are about to fuck this game up. Like, bro, at one point when it was like when they were up by 10 only, I'm like, yo, Washington has a chance to win this game. And then homeboy missed the field goal to keep it to make it a 7-point game. So at that point, then of course that hell of a fucking throw by Fields and catch by DJ Moore. DJ Moore shows he's receiver one. I even been saying he was receiver one since the Carolina days. And now you look at the Panthers, they're looking for a number one receiver. Well, you trade your number one receiver, right? It backfired. I feel like they didn't even need to do all that. So right now the Bears are looking all good offensively. Defensively, they got a little better improved, but we'll see how that goes. But with the Panthers, with the receiver situation, is what I've been saying. There's no separation with them. And you rely on Thielen too much. And last week, he was beat up and injured. We don't know how he's going to be this week. I mean, that's already a bad sign right there alone. So, you trade your first round pick, and now that's potentially a first overall or at least a top 3 pick, which you could have probably got Marvin Harrison Jr. And now looking at it, if I'm the Bears, look, I've been vouching for Justin Fields. I've been probably one of the only few people to say Justin Fields can be a franchise quarterback for the Bears. And I know it's not pretty, but it kind of fits the scheme. He doesn't have to be an accurate spot-on passer every fucking time because you are playing in the Windy City, but he can run the ball a little bit. The defense needs to be beefed up and more vamped. If they could play more tougher defense, then we can have a team with Justin Fields who can be a Michael Vick-like style player. And, but the one thing about the Bears, they need a running back because them running back injuries is piling up. You got a fullback coming in to play a running back. So I do expect Fields to do a lot more running with his legs. He did a little bit last night, so that's a sign. But, yeah, man, let's get into it, though. We got college football. We got NFL. By the way, follow the Instagram page, Pays and Plays _podcast. You will find pics that I won't broadcast on YouTube or Podcast World. It'll be on the story. I had Jacksonville State to win on the money line Wednesday. They came back from a 23-7-point deficit, 16-point deficit, scored 38 unanswered points. Rich Rod got those boys playing right. Jacksonville State, by the way, 5-1 in their first FBS year. There is a bullshit thing that has that you can't play bowl games for the first 2 years. I think that's trash. If teams can switch over to different conferences and expand and realignment, come on, bro. Come on, man. Like, because this team should be bowl eligible, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win the Conference USA. Now you got something to think about. I think the only reason they can go in is if there's not enough bowl eligible teams. I think that's the only time when they could play. We'll see. But Jacksonville State, they look very promising in the Conference USA. Hey, Rich Rod and points. If y'all know Rich Rod, I know a lot of Michigan fans know about him. Y'all know he can score. He got an offense. He got a mid-decent defense. Better than the West Virginia days, better than Michigan days, better than the Arizona days. But for that conference, Jacksonville State is looking kind of solid. But enough of all of that. Let's get right into it. Clear cut, point direct. We got Alabama -1 versus Texas A&M. I'm going with Alabama to win and cover. I'm not even going to overthink this game. This game has went down to a pick 'em at some books. I took the spread less than the buck 125 that I've been seeing for Alabama. -1. I mean, they just pretty much win, right? That's just how you got to look at it. They just pretty much win. If it was an underdog perspective, if it was +1, I wouldn't even take the +1 because I just take them to win. That's just how I look at it when I look at spreads. How many games really lose by 1 point? Basketball, you can see a lot that happen, but football is kind of it's a little different with that. I'm not overthinking this game. Bama remembers the time. Nick Saban remember the time he went to A&M and they lost. They're going to have their P's and Q's on this game. Everyone has complete. Is it me or has everyone forgot about Alabama? I haven't mentioned no one talk about Alabama. They already talk about Georgia. They talk about Michigan. They talk about Ohio State. They talk about Texas. I don't hear Alabama. Like they didn't just go to Mississippi. They didn't go to Starkville and blow out a team by fucking 17. This team against A&M has been better, yes, but it's Max Johnson, right? And if people remember, that's Brad Johnson's son. So if you feel a little old, like I'm starting to feel old, that lets you know how times have been flying. But listen, this isn't a typical Alabama aerial attack. There's no Bryce Young. There's not even a Hurts, if you want to consider him at that time a more quarterback. There's no Tua. There's no Mac Jones. This is ground and pound, play defense, the old Alabama way. Actually, if you really be honest with you, that was the first style of what Nick Saban was doing when he first got in. Julio was your only main receiver, but you had Ingram and Richardson. You know, you had A.J. McCarron, you know, as a quarterback. He was the manager, but you had your running backs. I see it. That's how I really see it. The defense is pretty top tier. The receivers is mid, but you know they're going to pretty much – Milroe is not actually a bad quarterback. And him being a dual threat does help this team out because he can run the ball when they need him to also. And with A&M, it's really the offense, bro. I haven't seen A&M face – I mean, when they played Miami, I mean – I know Miami's better this year, but I mean, I still would take Alabama offense before I take Miami offense. And I feel like ever since Alabama had that hiccup against USF, South Florida, ever since that game, they've been dominant and they've been showing it. And I think Saban has this mindset that, look, we got to go into a hostile environment. We're going to win this game outright. So give me Alabama -1. Give me that. Next game, we have Ohio State and Maryland. I am going with the over 57 total points. Yes. And I know it's Maryland, and some people have not paid attention to Maryland. By the way, Maryland is undefeated. I'm not saying they'll beat Ohio State. I saw that the 20-point favorites as far as I don't really know. But I like the total. Okay. Tua, little brother, Talia, he can throw the fucking ball. I'm not saying first round pick quarterback, maybe second, third round tier quarterback, but he can throw the ball. Maryland has this offense going. They average about almost close to 20 to 30 points a game. And if Ohio State, we know Ohio State, even if they blow out Maryland, let's say they put up 40 points on them, I still could see Maryland dropping 20. Or if Ohio State dropped 50. You know, I think the question is, well, Ohio State is really the quarterback, right? I mean, we know the receiver core is going to be the strongest out there because they just have receivers for days. But it's really the quarterback play. I still expect Harrison Jr. to do his thing. I still expect this offense to score points. I expect Maryland to score points too. And you can score on this Maryland defense as well. So give me the over 57 total for that one. Lastly, for college football, I have Colorado. 2 bets. I have them -3.5, and I have them to win outright in the money line against Arizona State. Now, this is a good right back game. Arizona State, I'm aware of they had a freshman quarterback that was actually productive. And if you watch the game against USC, he went toe-to-toe against Caleb Williams. Didn't win, of course, but had a pretty solid performance. He's not playing no more. He's out for the season. And they lost another quarterback. So now they're down to a third-string quarterback. The defense isn't good for Arizona State. I've been told to pay Arizona State all this year from somebody that's a local that stays over there nowadays, and he even tells me you need to go against this team a lot. Colorado's going to bounce back. I mean, the 90 points scored on them on defense is concerning, but I don't think Arizona State has the carousel to make that happen and get scored on. But I see a lot of points from Colorado. And I already mentioned I had a future bet, one of them, which was over 3 wins. So I'm pretty much hedging and doubling up my money on this game, tripling it pretty much almost. So let's go ahead with Colorado. I do think they win this game. I do think they cover this game, and prime time has this team rolling. Now let's go into the NFL, the real big boy league. Couple bets, man. I have a lean, I have an official bet, and then I have a teaser. But we'll start with the lean though. The Bills -5.5, a London game, 9:30 Sunday game. It's a game that I I lean towards the Bills because I just have a feeling that the Bills been so dominant. The only thing that concerns me is it's not even the London trip. It's the fact that you did blow out Miami. You did have a big game. Now I'm wondering if you're going to have a stinker. And that's my concern as far as the bet. I think they win this game, though. But, you know, Tre'Davious White injury is bigger than people think. You still don't have Von Miller out there. You know, so the defense is kind of like, we know the offense is high power. The offense can go toe-to-toe. But it's just really the defense. I'll have to probably sleep on it before I sit there Sunday morning. I'll probably wake up early Sunday morning anyway. I'll wake up and say I'm going to press that bet button for Buffalo. But -5.5 is a slight lean, though. But we'll get to my one and main official bet. Bengals -3, money line, however you want to take it. This game here against the Cardinals, if you don't win this game and cover, throw the whole fucking season away, bro. Like, there's really no excuse. I know the Cardinals have been playing hard. They've been coaching pretty good. But Josh Dobbs versus Burrow. Come on, Joe. I know you've been beat up, bro, but you're a fucking warrior out here, man. Prove it. You know, you got Jamar Chase saying he's always open. I expect an anytime touchdown from him. There you go. It'd be like a free little play right there, free game. It's just with the Bengals, man. They do this every year to themselves. They start off real slow, and then they got to start catching up again, and that gets old. But I mean, like, that's what they do. Unfortunately, I think this is the bounce back game. This is at the desert. Little concerning, but I'm not going to overthink this game. This game right here, -3. I'm going to tell you what this game, we're going to throw it back. This is Friday. This reminds me of, I remember pandemic season. I had Packers -3 traveling to Texans, right? This is after the week they got blew out against Tampa Bay. And I saw -3 and thought, no way they're -3 against the bum-ass Texans, which you saw how that season ended up being for the Texans, and then all the Deshaun Watson bullshit came up. So I'm thinking like, yo, how are they only -3? And then they go over there and blew the fuck out of them easily. Davante Adams had a field day, you know, and I know that was years ago at this point, right? But that's the equivalent to this game. I'm looking at -3, not a 3.5, not a hook, just -3. I'm like, fuck. Now, I do have the money line with that too, because I remember they played the Rams and they were -3-point favorites and they actually got a push. So that's why I did both to kind of save me on one end. But this game right here, man, Bengals, get your fucking shit together and get this fucking dub. Okay? That Cardinals game last week against the Niners, fourth quarter, actually, that's the real thing. Pay attention to the fourth quarter. If it's a close game, fourth quarter, live bet the Bengals. Because I have a feeling that the Cardinals always slowly fade away fourth quarter. Because you can watch that Niners game. They were very competitive all game until the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden it was like, you know, Giants game. Remember, they were up big, and then they blew that game. I'm giving y'all a sign of what I see, you know. In the Cowboys game, fourth quarter, they almost had a chance. They almost blew that game, but look, Dak was a turnover machine that game. But give me Bengals -3. Give me the money line as well. And lastly, last week the teaser did hit. I have an interesting teaser for this week. So, of course, it will be posted up here as I'm talking about it. I have Lions from -10 down to -3. The Miami Dolphins from -11.5 to -4.5. The Buffalo Bills from -5.5 to +1.5. Cincinnati Bengals from -3 to +4.5. And we're taking the Kansas City Chiefs from -3.5 to +3.5. You guys, keep liking the content. I'm giving y'all a free fucking game. Y'all can at least like the content every time y'all watch it, right? I don't charge for no picks. I just want some views in return. That's all I'm asking, all right? Simple as that. I'm not charging y'all arm and leg for these picks. There's people that sit there and charge you crazy dollars. I won't do you like that. But as always, let's get this money. Let's be safe out here, y'all.